People have been overlanding for decades, and it has become wildly trendy in the last few years. So if you want to get into overlanding yourself, we're here at SFJ 4x4 to tell you the essentials you're going to need on your next epic adventure. Overlanding, also known as expensive camping, is taking your rugged off-road vehicle and turning it into the ultimate camping setup so that you can live comfortably without having to lug a big camper to the top of a mountain on your next off-road adventure. Or if you just want to look cool the next time you head to the mall. We're going to break down these essentials into 4 primary categories: eat, sleep, recovery, and relax. We're going to incorporate this into our normal lifestyle vlog, so you're going to want to watch the whole video so that you get caught up on all the essentials we have to share. So without further ado, let's get to it. But before that, make sure you like and subscribe and comment what you think your favorite overlanding modification is. We read and respond to almost all comments that you leave in the video below. Sleep, or getting those quality midnight Z's after you've kicked it at the campfire. Now is the time to crawl onto the top of your vehicle and hunker down for a good night's rest. That's right, the ultimate example of an overlander. The way to absolutely impress your friends at all of the great overlanding events is to ensure that you have a quality rooftop tent. The particular unit behind me is a roof nest. It has massive space when it's opened up. It keeps you up out of the elements, so if it rains, you're not going to be stuck in the mud or rushing water, and any woodland creatures that are scurrying about on the ground are absolutely not going to be able to get to you when you're tucked away nicely up on top of your vehicle. Now, with that said, watch your step. The first one's a doozy. So if in the middle of the night you have to relieve yourself, you're definitely going to want to ensure that you have a good ladder or a good means of getting up and down. Sleeping also means that you're going to want to choose a quality sleeping pad or cot. So if you are one of the peasants sleeping in a tent on the ground still, and you have not upgraded to that rooftop tent, you're going to want to make sure that your tent site is level, you have a good quality waterproof tent, that it's staked well to the ground, and that you ensure that you have a nice thick sleeping mat or quality cot to ensure that you don't wake up the next day with a stiff neck when you're looking up at all the overlanders with their rooftop tents. Before we get on with the rest of the video, we want to tell you about today's sponsor, the I Speak Jeep podcast. If you didn't know, we have our very own wildly popular podcast called I Speak Jeep, where we teach you everything we know about Jeeps and where the Jeep life has taken us. If you want to check it out, click the link in the description to listen to it on your favorite streaming platform. And if you want to support us, we have a Patreon where we have exclusive content and you get a bonus vlog every month.
So quickly they figured out they need a deep water fording kit, which allowed for 8 minutes at 54 inches.
So wait a second. It was fuel pump
And T-case vent.
was our limiting factor
Was our
on
limiting
the 21
factors.
inches.
And the deep fording kit also did a snorkel. They did kind of a pseudo M38 hole in the hood and a tailpipe that came up above the water. And 54 inches is about the top of the steering wheel.
Huh.
So
I
then,
would have said that was higher than the steering wheel. Isn't that
so they were traumatized, obviously, from the MB situation. So by the time the M38 era came around, Korean War, early 50s, we decided that we were going to do 30 inches without stock, non-modified. And then we were going to do a deep water fording kit. You're noticing a trend here.
Yes.
They allowed us to go 60 inches.
Ah.
We got almost 6 inches over what the MB could do. And mind you, people...
Sometimes 6 inches is all you need.
Yeah, sometimes it's all you need. And you might do it with 4.
Yeah, because I'm working in the dirt right now.
I was gonna sneak up on
It
you.
was 20 years ago that I started doing that in the dirt. You can sneak up on me, that's fine. You're gonna go out there, I'm just gonna fuss at the camera the whole time. Because see this? You see where I could be working? Right here, in all of this room, close to the tools.
Why are you working in the dirt then?
Because you suggested it, Jeffrey, and I felt my masculinity was threatened. Do you want to be a mechanic?
Not today.
Why do you have a bottle of water?
I'm thirsty.
You're feeling frisky?
I'm thirsty.
Oh.
You want some?
Yeah, I want some. Huh? Got him! That's what we're gonna do, huh?
It's just a prank, bro.
I knew I shouldn't have trusted you with that water.
Was I sus?
You were super sus. So, fun fact about 2004 automatic Jeep TJ 406 cylinders. It is a 1 year only starter. Did you know that, Savage?
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, you knew that. Pretty. Sounds like church bells. It could be like at a Catholic church. They could be ringing, you know, for whatever they ring for.
When mass is over.
Is it when mass is over? You would know. That would be the only thing they ring for. You think it's going to start?
Should.
It should start. All right. There's the moment we've all been waiting for. Do you remember if the battery was good on this the other day?
I think you said it wasn't quite right.
Oh, you're right. I remember that now.
Okay. Right there.
What'd you, Oh, that went all over my face.
That's what she said.
There was an accident.
Oh?
My prank backfired. prank gone wrong.
Prank fails, huh?
Sexual.
All right, it's gonna fire right up this time. Well, that's a real solid kick to the cooling end. Oh, that makes me sad. It's not like we did a ton of work, but now we gotta push it inside. What happened there?
You stop?
I thought you stopped.
I didn't stop.
You stopped.
Somebody ran out of mojo.
I think I was pushing the whole thing this whole time.
I know you were.
All right. Come on. Hey, 3, 2, 1. And nobody's home. Oh, dude. I did it across the terminal first. Weird. Jeffrey, try to do it now that I put the, yeah, now that I kind of freed up the Bendix. Try the key.
No, nothing.
What? Scott, it's got to be like that little plastic piece in the ignition or something. Key's on, right?
Yep.
Hey, shut it off. So that means our ASD is working. Do I try key again?
Nothing. Nobody home.
I'm just contemplating life choices with Stairway to Heaven playing in the background. So I think it's our switch. I mean, it got in that little impact, but that thing started and drove a couple different times. I just don't understand how the ignition switch just randomly goes bad. All right, Savage, tell us how to fix it.
Did you try putting it in rice?
I am going to need a bigger bucket of rice. Recovery. So you might be going on an epic over-the-road adventure, or you might just be close to home, but far out in the back country. And the difference between you having a successful adventure and not may be your own ability to self-rescue. That's right, your ability to get out at the end of your adventure will make the difference of whether or not you had a good time or not. And so ultimately, recovering yourself with a winch, traction boards, a quality recovery kit, potentially a high lift jack, and a shovel are just some of the items that you're going to want to include on your Overland rig. One of the most popular products currently are traction boards. Traction boards have been around for decades, but they've made their way into the average consumer market. They're useful for things like leveling out your campsite, shoving in underneath a loose and lost traction wheel, or in general, making a makeshift picnic table when nothing else is suitable at the campsite. Traction boards come from a bunch of different manufacturers, and they're just a super cool looking product. You can see displayed on the Jeep behind me. And they're one of those things that if you're going to invest in them, buy a good quality product and definitely have it readily accessible. Winches, you definitely want to have, no matter what you're doing with your Jeep. It should be about 2.5 times the overall weight of your vehicle. So if you are putting a lot of heavy camping gear on your Jeep, you might want to consider that weight in addition to the original manufacturer's gross weight of the vehicle. High lift jacks are a rudimentary but incredibly valuable tool. You can actually use them in a bunch of different configurations, and very commonly they're called farm jacks. We use them to lift up a Jeep. You can level your campsite as well, or you can even use them as a makeshift winch or spreading device as needed. And finally, a quality recovery kit that has some form of appropriate kinetic rope, tree saver, winch line protection, and those items are going to make the difference of whether or not you stay stuck in the mud and you're hiking out, or you safely recover your vehicle and you're back on the trail. Today's installment of junk of Neil's that isn't Jeeps that we need to fix. We're gonna go work on the RV real quick. So we just got the LJ fixed as far as the no worky, right? The mad scientists will call it the drive shaft, the ignition drive shaft. The rest of the world appears to want to call it the ignition cylinder actuator pin. It's a mouthful. Anywho, he went ahead, he pulled that out. We actually had a completely broken piece there. The starter was also smoked in the process. So I think what was happening was that actuator pin piece starts to break just a little bit, so it's not making full contact. And I think that they were probably trying to start it a couple times, and that could have, you got a 20-year-old starter at that point. It was an original starter. I think that just took the starter out, or the starter went out and they were trying to turn it over to start it and the actuator pin broke. Either one, you could definitely see the correlation between the two. I did the starter miserably in the dirt. I'm still fussing about that. Mad Scientist did the actuator pin, got that replaced. It's running beautifully and it's headed off to alignment at this point, and we're gonna fix an RV. Bought this RV years ago when we were traveling to shows. Hooking up to our trailer was a nightmare when I was running the big trucks with the camper in the bed of it. I wanted to be able to just back my house up to the big trailer. We used to have a big enclosed trailer, and I wanted to just back my house up to the trailer and haul it wherever the country we needed to go. So we bought specifically a 1997 Holiday Rambler. And really cool thing about that RV was it's actually on a Freightliner chassis. So it's a full Freightliner, air ride, air brakes. It's got a Cummins industrial 5.9 or a 12 valve engine with a world-class, or an Atlas world-class transmission with 22.5 Alcoa wheels, just a step down semi tires. Just a legit toter home. Super cool little John that we traveled, 3 to 5 years in, took it all over the place, which you might find out, I actually lived in it for about 4 months while my wife and I are hand building a house. Maybe we'll start to introduce you guys to that whole aspect. But we live in this RV. I pulled it in to the driveway. Everything was gravy. And I went to start it this late summer. It kicked over a couple times and then boop, nothing. Nobody was home. So I've done a bunch of troubleshooting, a bunch of diag. I actually got it to run, but because of a lack of ignition signal, the transmission isn't waking up, and it's electronic shift transmission. So with that said, it won't move. I can get the darn thing to run. I bypassed it, I made it run, but I need to pull it out of the driveway now. So that's what we're gonna work on. I'm coercing the mad scientists, put our double brains together, and see if we can figure out the problem and get it the heck out of the driveway. So this is it. 1997 Holiday Rambler. This is before they went all defunct in the Great Recession of '07. She looked a lot cleaner years ago. Man, it was a sweet, John. It was a good RV. It's actually got a full Onan generator up here. That's a commercial Onan generator. She's a gem. She'd run a house, literally. Did a lot of work on this thing, and it's time for it to be somebody else's problem at this point. You see relays back there?
Right down there is 2 starter solenoids.
Where?
Down there.
Where? I don't see them.
Well, you have to get down in there.
Hey, I found the relays.
Yep.
Do you think we should build this into a crawler hauler? Don't you think it would look good outside the shop?
Nope.
And Greg would love if I demolished it in front of, like, in the parking lot.
We tried that once.
Savage, I'm gonna probe things.
Not me.
Maybe, if our viewers pay enough. OnlyFans for savages.
We got no powers back here. Scientifically, if you don't have power, it won't run.
How do you know how to work on RVs?
I don't.
You're just a mad scientist?
I'm a mad scientist. Do what I want. Is there like some dumb chance the battery cable off or something stupid?
No, I've redone all that.
That's what I'm worried about.
I heard that. Wow. He really roasted me. So that one's hot.
It wasn't hot when I checked it.
We're on to something. We're on to something. Oh. I've got 12 volt on one side of this solenoid. What was he testing? That's what I want to know. There we go. So the fuel shut-off solenoid is now in the upright position because it was not strong enough to start by itself. No transmission.
Still dead.
Yep. So this is a world-class transmission, means it's a electronic keypad. It requires an ignition hot signal to tell the transmission that it's on. It's kind of like a neutral safety switch. So right now there should be a little display on that screen up there, and there's no display. So the problem is, once the system airs up, the air brakes will release. Scott could throttle it up and give it a little bit of that 12 valve 5.9 goose. Give it a little bit of that dyno oil. But the transmission arguably doesn't know that the RV is on. We're not getting the signal from here to those.
Well, you're not, because I held this over on the ignition switch and you didn't have any power back there. So there's an interruption somewhere between the two.
One time the VRLs got really warm.
I caught that on fire coming into town late one night. It literally happened right at the top of the Route 7 coming into town. And I've told the story before. I drove through town with no headlights on, and the dash was smoking at us. Thought the whole house was gonna burn down, but I thought if I could get it back to the shop, it would at least burn down at the shop and not out on a public road.
There are a lot of relays over here. They all say Ford on them. That's reassuring.
Is that a naughty relay?
I don't know. Would that be something? It's a Ford relay.
Totally the Ford relay that failed.
Okay, relay is good.
This looks really intimate.
It's a trust exercise.
Relay is good.
Ah, darn Ford part.
So we did get lucky there, but there is a lot of relays.
Are they all the relays the same?
It looks like it.
You know, that is something we could do.
What's that?
Just pull each relay and test it.
That's what I was thinking.
I was also thinking that.
Sure, you were a savage.
But we don't know what they are, and we don't know how they work.
But we at least can see if they function.
You're paying attention to which one you're doing which?
You?
Okay. I found my headlamp. I was looking for that.
You know, they put what they are for underneath
Oh,
the relay, which is super helpful. Auxiliary ignition.
that's the one I'm looking for. It's firing.
No, that's next. I'm making you wait.
Tease.
One at a time.
You're a big tease. No! We have found a lot of ways that the ignition circuit is connected to the vehicle. We found a bunch of relays. Scott is working through and he's independently firing them. And so we can hear the relays firing. We have learned that this thing is not moving anytime soon. It's actually pretty straightforward, honestly. When it comes to electrical theory, it's not terrible if we can find where everything goes back to. So if you don't know, houses on wheels are the worst because you get a builder, so they buy the chassis. So this particular chassis was from Freightliner. They buy the chassis, they come in on trailers or trucks and stuff, and they drop it off, and then the house builder starts to build the house. And then they fill it with lots of automotive supplies from a bunch of other people. So this has got Ford relays, a GM ignition, it's got a Atlas transmission and a Cummins engine. And so not only do you get all these different manufacturers for the house, just like you have different appliances in your house, but then you get all the different manufacturers to make the vehicle run normal. So like if you buy a Ford truck, you're largely, let's say you buy like an 80s or a 90s Ford truck, you're largely going to have all Ford parts in there. So the house is a lot like AMC, where they just bought everybody's leftover parts and pieces and then shoved them into the shape of a vehicle. Holiday Rambler kind of did the same thing. So I learned the squirrels really like that dogwood tree back there, and I don't really like the RV right now.
I feel like we should call Greg.
Well, Greg has spent a lot of time in this RV before. You wouldn't have any video content because it would just be
Beep, 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 beep.
the whole time. I think we have to move on. That hurts my heart. It's a bunch of gobbledygook there, but we'll live to fight another day. Eat. There is nothing better than going camping and stuffing yourself silly on some of the best outdoor snacks and cooking possible. On your epic overlanding experience, having access to a fridge is going to be a game changer. For many years, as an industry, we've argued over different types of coolers and how long ice will last. And now, because of technology, we actually have access to these really cool electric fridges that keep our food cool for the entire weekend. You're gonna wanna have a quality battery supply to ensure that fridge keeps on working. You're gonna absolutely be able to keep all your meats and cheeses and other types of foods that used to get super soggy in the cooler, fresh and ready to be prepared. With that, you're gonna wanna have a quality cooktop, so some type of gas stove or an appropriate tripod cooking device for over the campfire is going to make a big difference. Some people go so far as even ensuring that they have a nice mobile kitchen unit. You can go as simple as having a container full of pots and pans and utensils that you like to use, all the way to a full-blown cabinet that has all of your regular ingredients, cookware, coffee maker, and other household appliances ready and able to be used at a moment's notice on your off-road experience. I didn't get a haircut, so everybody's got to look at me all shaggy. And I was going to go get a haircut this morning. Do you know how many old men were at the barber shop by 9 a.m. this morning? I'm surprised I didn't see you there, waiting in line.
I had to be at work.
Oh, that's true. This beautiful CJ7, you saw the video last. Since then, we've done a little bit of fit and finish, some fine tuning. I think it looks perfect. We put spacers, wheel spacers, wheel adapters on it. In order to do that, we had to re-stud all of the flanges of the vehicle. So that's pretty challenging on a CJ7, honestly, because of the drum brakes in the rear, so the axle shafts, and then the actual studs on the front hubs is a lot more challenging than, say, doing like a TJ or a JK. But anyway, so we had to put the longer wheel studs on it, but now the wheel adapter's on, super safe. So we're gonna do a drive, because Scott flipped the steering so that it drives nice. I could really be pedantic and tell you exactly the scientific reasons of bump steer, but you know, really people don't want to see that. They want to see me like dangling from the rafters and other shenanigans. But we're gonna take it for a ride because rumor has it that our local junkyard, one of my friends, has a couple TJs in his lot, and he might have a front axle for Brittany the Jeep, which we've been looking for months now. So we're gonna head to the junkyard, scope it out, and see if we can find an axle to move that project along. Oh man, that just starts so good. I love a good junkyard. So this is one of my my favorite local junkyards, Northeast Auto Recyclers. We'll see. Hey, Mr. Tackett, how are you? I heard that a rumor that there might be some TJ Wranglers in the yard.
There's two. Straight back to your right, there's a white one and a camouflage one.
All right, you mind if we go hunting?
Go look.
All right, perfect.
And I
Thank
think
you.
there's a blue one over across on the left side.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Look at this is a Land Rover here. Discovery. SE7. Woo! This thing was a machine in its day. Look at this. The grill guard. V8. Yeah, that's what's up. We could still wheel this. So the thing about Northeast Auto Recyclers is they are primarily a scrap business, but the owner, Chris, they hold on to a number of their higher dollar vehicles in order to pull parts off of them. They have a pretty fast rotation. So I already found one Jeep here. So this is a YJ Wrangler right here. Already I'm kind of in love with the hardtop. We've got a 6-cylinder. Somebody already ripped the transmission out of it by chance. Transfer case is sitting in the back seat. Free with Hornet's Nest. Hi. Hi. Look at that BF Goodrich tire. They knew what was up. Cherokee. Look, I got the Vet. With wheels in the driver's seat. Who scraps a Corvette? How does somebody not give you a couple bucks for this thing? Ay, ay, ay. Is there more Wranglers? In its natural habitat, where a Trailblazer belongs.
Okay, and there's like 20 Jeeps here.
Just FYI, it's a Trailblazer. That's because the Trailblazers have all been crushed at this point. You got relays in there? Look at the vent visors. You could have vent visors. GMC Acadia. That's gorgeous. All right, found one. Ah, you know why we couldn't find it? Ah! It's camouflage. Yowzers. It used to be blue. Somebody got liquored up, decided to rattle can it. I don't think it's gonna work. Nope. No dice. So the axle we're looking for has to come out of a 6-cylinder Jeep. This here is a 4-cylinder Jeep, making that axle a 410, and we need 307 axles. It's kind of the first time in my life that we need 307s, but here we are. Hey, there's good windshield washer fluid in there. All right, so now we're looking for potentially a white one, right? That's what we heard. Commander, that was one of the biggest Jeep disappointments they had made. Oh, golly. Oh! I found it, Savage. We were gonna head off that way, and it's here. So, okay. We've got, you know what this is? Seat is a dead giveaway, but this one's actually still badged. So Sahara, that means we've got a 6-cylinder, no matter what. Here's the other gem of Saharas and the TJs. They were monochromatic, so that means one color. So there's your fenders are one color, then it had these little fun steps, or these guards, these rocker guards, and then it did have steps, which is the cutout there. Actually, pretty nice fitment. This one's been here for a minute by the looks of it. This will have the right axle we're looking for. This is the axle. Now we got to check it out and see if it's going to be better than Brittany the Jeep. So things I'm automatically looking for are, did the pinion seal have any big leaks to it? Are the spring perches there? They're not great, but they're not bad. Upper control arm mount. I don't know, it's not the worst Jeep I've ever seen. Let's see if we can see any ball joints. Hard to tell, it's pretty scaly. This might be a contender. Gonna need some cleanup. Clean up in aisle 5. So the other thing we're looking for in a junkyard is, like, this was definitely, you know, kind of in a little fender bender, but not like huge smashed in. Looks like somebody was trying to grease these ball joints. You know, they're actually trying to maintenance them. The question is, what do the gears look like? Might have to come back I tried starting it, it doesn't start. All right, let's see what we know more about this here Jeep and see how many miles are on it and if it'll work to be the new donor for Brittany the Jeep. You need that.
Might be a V8 in there.
It would be a V8, it should be a V8 in there. Look at that, Ford guys going crazy right now. These are cool cars. Rear wheel drive, V8, rides like a Cadillac. Not as good as a Cadillac. Not like a Cadillac limousine. All right, Savage, let's do a thing. Let's see what we know about this. Jeff, are you up to date on your tetanus shot?
No.
Good. I think that Fiat is already, that Fiat 500 is not that old. It's already in the boneyard. You know what's not in the boneyard? Ford Rangers. All right, we're out of here. Thank you, take care. On to the next thing, Savage. Relax. Now this is a pretty broad category, but it's gonna contain things from your actual ability to sit around the campfire or sit at that scenic vista and enjoy the view, all the way to having the peace of mind to know that you're going to have extra fuel when you're on the backwoods, or that you have a first aid kit so that you can dress or take care of any of those boo-boos that life might throw at you. So you're gonna want to consider things under the relax category of spare and additional fuel, quality battery electric supply, lawn chairs, things that will make you comfortable around your home on wheels, a first aid kit to make sure that you can dress any mistakes that may happen along the way, a map and GPS, just in case you do find yourself wandering and lost. I know not all who wander are lost, but sometimes it does happen to the best of us. So you might want to have a redundant process to ensure that you are not lost. And you're gonna wanna make sure that you front load as many things possible without weighing down your Jeep in order to give you peace of mind so that when you are on that epic adventure, that you can relax and enjoy yourself. So in the last video, we had picked up that pretty cool silver LJ from the paint shop. It grew up a little bit this week. It's pretty gnarly looking Jeep at this point, and it's into the alignment shop at this point. So we're gonna swing by. It's done off the rack there. We're gonna take this one. This is our third Jeep passing through alignment today alone. So we'll take this one in to do an alignment setup and pick up that silver Jeep, see how it runs and rides. Pretty tickled by the work that's been done to it this week, and hopefully that one will be going home to its customers. They've been waiting like 2.5 months. But the good news is it didn't get totaled. It's got a clear title, it's repaired, it looks nice, it's been improved upon, and it's gonna make that family very, very happy. So dropping off our friends, Lake Erie Automotive. Hello, friends. Hi. Thank you, sir. Why'd you throw it at me?
I didn't mean to.
You threw it at me. You did. You were nervous. I could tell.
I'm pretty enough. I forgot my polo.
Oh. I think you're pretty enough.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Look at this monster. So picked it up from paint. It's got the Bushwhacker fender flares. Actually, we went with a Rough Country 17-inch steel or aluminum wheel, excuse me. So this is the really cool thing about these wheels. So this is a 5-on-4.5-inch bolt pattern, but in a 17. So I gotta give it to Rough Country for producing that wheel combo. I gotta say, it's actually gorgeous. It's a gunmetal with a black simulated beadlock. Super cool. We went with a Nitto Ridge Grappler all-terrain tire, and just sits up 2.5-inch lift kit with JKS and Iron Rock off-road components. Customer opted to retain a tubular front bumper, so we replaced that tube front bumper, with one that wasn't all mangled up in an accident. And around the back here, we flushed it out with a nice rugged ridge hinge and tire carrier upgrade. New tail light because their old hinges were getting all loosey-goosey and broke. Now we have no contact issues. We're not gonna hit the body. Man, that just all came out gorgeous. The guys did a fantastic job. Customer is gonna love it.